Hi and welcome back to Slick Willy Fly. And today we're going to do this awesome, it's a Clouser variant or a Gotcha Charlie variant. It's a larger than a Gotcha, maybe not large in the Clouser world. But it's just a great fly, would be awesome in the inshore. I'm personally looking at this fly for surf fishing, chasing big snook or tarpon on the beaches in South Florida. But it's just a great fly. And when I say surf, I mean that it has to be very durable when it's getting banged around in that surf. So I hope you're having a cocktail with me. Today's actually feels a little bit celebratory. Panthers just won back-to-back championships, which is pretty amazing. And one of my very closest friends just had their first grandchild, so it just feels like a lot of good news lately. So just, I don't know, having fun, time flies, just feels good. So quickly, materials. It's a Gamakatsu B10S Dinger size 2. I'm using a little bit of Dumbbell Eyes. Actually, they're brass Dumbbell Eyes with the painted two pupil yellow and black. For the body, I used flat pearl, which I have right here. Piece of flat pearl, flat braid in pearl color. I'm going to use a little bit of Krystal Flash in pearl. I might put some silly legs on. The eyes I said were brass. For thread, I'm going to use Uni 220 denier, a little bit of UV resin. This is a super simple, straight, slick willy fly. Very few materials. Oh, and for the wing. For the wing, I got this awesome select, super nice black bucktail. So I'm going to give you a tip on bucktail. Whenever I go into a tackle shop anywhere, I always look at the bucktail because I really don't like to mail order bucktail. Bucktail is one of those materials that I really want to just see what I'm getting before I order it, so it doesn't come just, I have ordered through the mail, and a lot of times I'm disappointed with bucktail. There's a ton of items that I can order, mail order, no problem. Bucktail's not one of them. So I say that we have another sip of our cocktail, change the camera angle, and let's tie a fly. Alright, so while I get a hook out, why don't we go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. So I did a little bit of pre-prep just to make this go a little bit quicker, and I went ahead and I put a little bit of a base of thread with a little bit of super glue and the dumbbell eye. You've seen me do this a bunch of times. I just thought we'd save some time on this video. So I'm going to go ahead and restart my thread. I can trim away this tag. And now we're going to talk real quick about these flies. So I did another just the body. And in this one, I didn't use any Krystal Flash for the tail. I've got just basically, I took a needle and I opened up this braid. And I think that I'm going to make this one the same way, as opposed to the one that you just saw in the vise, where I'm bringing it out right now. Here, I used a little bit of Krystal Flash in the tail instead of the braid. Both work well. It doesn't matter whichever way you want to go. I think they're both great. But I think I'm just going to stick with the braid for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my thread down into the bend of the hook. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off a piece of braid. You don't need a lot. I would say, depending on how much you want to put on, this is all kind of what people themselves like. I don't want a super long tail, so I would say maybe half an inch, a little bit more than a half an inch is enough for my tail. So now I'm just going to attach this braid right at that bend of the hook point. This particular braid that I picked up, I like the braid, I like the color, I like the way it works. I didn't like the packaging. And I don't really want to get into brands. I don't want to, you know, shame it, but I just wish they would package a little better. So I'm going to get my thread out of the way. And now you can use a hackle plier, or you can just, you know, I'm going to just use my fingers. And basically I'm just going to wrap up the hook, making sure that I cover the hook nicely. I gave myself enough braid that I can just work the front here a little by the dumbbell eyes, because I want to make a little bit of a thicker body up on the front here, just like that. And now I can bring back my thread. Could have easily done this with the rotary function, but we did it old school. And now I'm going to go under the eyes, and I'm going to capture that braid right behind the dumbbell eyes, just like that. And I can trim off that excess. Beautiful. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a whip finish in, and I'm going to trim off the thread. Just like that. Because now we're going to do a little UV resin. A lot of times when I do these kind of flies, I'll make, you know, a half a dozen bodies, and then I'll come back and finish the flies after. So I don't need a lot of resin. This is kind of a thinner viscosity resin. That's enough right there. All I'm trying to do in reality is I want to make this body tough. That's really all I'm trying to accomplish here. But I do want to make sure that the resin covers, and I do want to give it a nice even spread. So I use the rotary function here just to make it wrap around nicely. Now I zap that. Should have made sure my battery was good. Just like that. I have another lamp here. Just make sure that gets cured up. Beautiful. Now, if you feel like this body is fine, and really it is, this body's fine, but you could always come back, and we'll do it just to prove the case. Add a little more resin and build up that body just a little more. Make sure that I give that a little turn, and now I've actually made the body a little bit thicker. And you can do that as many times as you like until you're happy with the way that body looks. And once you feel like this is cured, then you can take a needle, which I'm about to do, and really make sure this is cured. And once I'm happy with that, you just take a needle and you come in here and just open up your flat braid. And this flat braid will act like a great little tail, and it's just easy and just the right amount of flash, and I don't know, I just like it a lot. Okay, so just for the sake of this video, I have had a body that I pre-made, literally the exact same materials, the identical body, but I know it's cured up good, so I'm going to swap it out, and we're going to finish the fly on this body that I previously made. So one of the things I'm going to do is when I put it in the vise now, I'm going to put it inverted, which will give me a little bit easier for tying. Just like that. And the first material that we're going to put on is a little bit of Krystal flash. Now, the amount of Krystal flash, it really varies from person to person. Some people like a lot of flash, Some people don't. I have mixed feelings when it comes to flash. Sometimes I want to put a bunch of flash on, other times I don't. So it's just, it really is personal preference. And of course you have to start your thread first. Now from this point on, the thread will never go behind the dumbbell eyes. The same as tying a clouser. So I got this clump of Krystal flash, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the thread. And the one thing that I do like about things like Krystal flash is if I ever put on too much Krystal flash, it's not really a problem to trim some out. And I just locked it in right on top, just like that. And I'm not super worried about any length right now. Now the next material is going to be a piece of this bucktail, and really I want to get from the middle section. It won't open up too much, and it won't it's not going to want to spin as much as, you know, other parts of it. It just works nice, and they're not the longest hairs. I try to save the longest for other flies. I do take away all the shorts, like I always do. This particular bucktail, it's amazing. It doesn't really have that much shorts. It's one of the nicest bucktails I think I've ever purchased. I regret not buying two of them. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get a measurement, get some of these wild long ones out of here, and now that's about the length I'm looking for, right there. I'd say double the length of the end of the hook. And I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this to make it look nice and clean. And just to give this really the cleanliness and just a great tie-in that I'm looking for, I'm gonna go ahead and do one wrap only around the bucktail, and then I'm going to present the bucktail, and now I'm going to do a wrap around the bucktail and the hook, making sure that I like exactly where it is, and now I can crank down on this bucktail. Always making sure. Remember, if you don't like the way something looks, you can always back off your thread. And one of the things that I really love about this 220 denier is I can really crank down on this. I do have a little bit of bucktail that got a little bit long on me, which I was trying to avoid, but I can show you a trick after we do the UV resin, how I singe off some of these longer hairs. It's a cool little trick, but we'll get into that in a second. So yeah, so I'm happy with the way that turned out. Now if you look at a fly, like for instance I can look at this fly and I could say, don't know if I really have enough bucktail, which I think I do. I'm not going to add bucktail. But you could. It's the point that I'm getting at. You could definitely add bucktail if you wanted to. Just tie on another clump. But I'm happy with the way that turned out. If anything, I have too much flash. But I'm happy. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot right here. And cut off my thread. I have one with silly legs. So I'm going to make this one without silly legs. If I was going to add silly legs, I would add them at this point. In fact, you know what? We'll do it. We'll do it just because we're making a video. So I'm going to go ahead and take one silly leg. I'm going to put it on my thread. Same as the way I did the Krystal flash. I'm going to go right to the top. I'm gonna give it one loop. Now I want to make sure that I put these the way I want them. Just like that. Just take your time, get everything the way you want it. And once it's where you want it, then you can crank it down. Just like that. Perfect. Love it. Now it's another whip finish. Perfect. Nice. So I guess I'm going to trim my silly legs. So I'm going to put them together. I'm not going to really stretch them. And I'm going to say that they're going to be longer than the hook, but not as long as the bucktail. So something like that. It's going to work. They're going to obviously lay back when they're done. Nice. So now it's UV resin. This is a monster fly. This thing is so awesome. I mean, it you know, snook, redfish, tarpon, trout, you name it, snapper. I can catch a bonefish on this for sure. Have to be a big bonefish because it's a big hook, but that's alright. Big bonefish are fun. And once I've given that a little turn, like where everything is sitting, not any rush, gotta make sure that that hole is clear. It is. Just a little bit of deer hair, which we're gonna take care of. And now we zap it. And now this thing is pretty much bulletproof. Awesome. You know, one thing that's kind of cool is that the silly legs, they will float differently than Krystal Flash, or so everything's gonna have a little bit more like motion. Even if the fly was just sitting on the bottom, sitting on a little piece of sand, everything is going to be wiggling, or, you know, there's always that little bit of current in the ocean. So that, you know, especially in the beach, I should say. So it's just it's gonna look so good. It's just gonna be a great little, super effective fly. Alright, so now to give you the last little tip, I need to go get a lighter. So I'm going to pause the camera for 1 second. I'll be right back. Alright, so here's a tip. I've seen a lot of people do this. I don't think it's a good idea. People will come in here and bring a flame to the front of the fly. I don't like to do that. I think that you just run the risk of really burning up your fly. So instead, what I do is I heat up a lighter. I heat up the needle. And then I bring over this hot needle and I just singe everything off, just like that. And I take away all that risk. Hey, so we're back. So there it is. You know, this is a great little fly. When you're in the inshore, you know, chasing snook, redfish, trout, tarpon, you name it. This is a great fly, but for me, honestly, this fly is something that I'm going to cast along, you know, cruising the beach. Now, if you have too much Krystal Flash, you can always trim some. If you think they're too long, you can always trim them. That's really a personal preference. This little fly with the bucktail is probably going to be maybe not 100% weedless, but I think that the bucktail does help a little bit with keeping it somewhat weedless. What's most important for me is that since I want to use this fly in the surf, that's why I gave it this hard UV resin body to make this thing really, really durable. And using the UV resin in the knot is really going to also make it kind of bulletproof. So you have two variants. Here's another variant where I use Krystal Flash in the tail. Super simple. They're both super simple. This little flat braid, it does the trick. Both work good. Love them. You can obviously have different colors. It doesn't have to be a black bucktail. You can try whites or colors, chartreuse, you know, whatever. You know, sky's the limit. You're only limited by your imagination. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying a good cocktail with me. And good luck catching. See you on the next video.